Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I'm here in my basement because I want to do a knife sharpening video again. And today I want to compare a couple of sharpening stones like this one here, and I've gotten 3 other stones off of Amazon that I want to compare. And I want to find out which one is the best, of course. And also, if you're interested in getting one of these stones, then make sure that you check out the links in the description below, because I will link all of these products. And if you want to get this device, make sure that you check out the company. It's justsharp.com. And if you use the link in the description, they will give you a 10% discount on your purchase. I want to start with this device here. And this device comes with several different sharpening stones. These ones here are the basic sharpening stones, but you can also get level up stones which have even finer grit for professional sharpening. And they even have a gold plated line, which is for people who want to save some time and sharpen even faster. Now honestly, I think that this device here is the best one that you can get if you are a beginner in knife sharpening, because it's holding the angle for you and you can adjust the height by just moving this thing up and down, and then you can adjust the angle on your knife. And it's really very simple to sharpen, so everybody can sharpen a knife with this device here. And I've already made a video about it. It's really working and it's an awesome device. However, today I want to try something different, because on my outdoor knives I have a convex edge. And the convex edge is a little bit tricky to sharpen with flat stones when the angle is held tight. So today I want to try to make my own sharpening stone, which actually can sharpen convex in this device here. Okay, so basically what I want to do is I want to glue on a plastic stand onto the foam. Okay, so while this is drying, I want to talk about the edges for a minute. So with these stones you can sharpen a V edge, which basically looks like this. So it's basically 2 straight lines, and that's a great edge for kitchen knives or EDC knives, and even for the Scandinavian grind. But for my outdoor knives, I rather want to have a convex edge, which looks like this, so it has a curve, and this one is a little bit more stable, and that's why I like to use it for my outdoor knives. And today I want to achieve a convex edge like this one. Now we'll take a piece of sandpaper and cut out the same rectangle. And here we have our convex sharpening stone. Now I want to switch out the sharpening stone for the convex makeshift sharpening stone, and it's pretty easy. You just pull here and then you can take out the stone. So with this lever you can change out the stones pretty quickly. And now let's put in my convex sharpening stone. First I have to find out the right angle for the convex sharpening. I think I need to go higher. Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, now let's start sharpening the knife. And here you cannot go back and forth, because otherwise you would cut your sandpaper. So you can only go in this direction. So as you can see, the convex sharpening is working, because the foam is so soft that it forms around the edge of the knife. And that's how you get a convex edge. Okay, now it's time for the other side, and for that we just pull out the clamp and turn it around like so. Okay, so now that burr is showing up, and that's actually a sign that you finished with the sharpening process. Okay, so I stropped the knife, and now comes the moment of truth. So I would say that's pretty good for a self-made sharpening stone that only cost me like 10 cents. So as you can see, you can sharpen a knife with a convex edge with these devices as well. And you just have to make yourself this padded sharpening stone with sandpaper. And I think that this is even too soft actually. So I think that a mouse pad is even better than this very soft foam here. And you have to take care that you're not pressing down too much, because otherwise you will scratch your knife here. So if you're attempting this at home, make sure that you're using an old mouse pad, because those have the best consistency and the best height for a self-made sharpening stone. So now let's check out the blade here. And with the light reflection you can see that this is truly a convex edge. Now it also might work with the sharpening stones, but then you have to go up and down here while sharpening. You have to do this while sharpening, and that's maybe a little bit more tricky. So I rather would make myself a self-made foam sharpening stone. Okay, now I want to take a look at other sharpening stones here. These ones, for example, I got off of Amazon for a very cheap price, and they come in a grid from 400 to 8,000. So they should allow somebody to make a razor sharp edge as well. And they're pretty cheap, which is awesome. But there's a downside which comes with these stones. And that is that they are losing material pretty fast. So after 5 or 6 knives, you have a small divot in the middle of the stone. And that's not good, of course. And now I want to show you how you can correct this divot. So basically you mark your sharpening stone with a pencil, and then you want to take a piece of sandpaper and you want to start rubbing the sharpening stone on the sandpaper. And you have to make sure that the surface is flat and that you don't have any bumps in the table. So this side is flat now because the pencil drawing is gone, but here I still have pencil drawing. Okay, now the stones are somewhat flat and they are looking good, and I'm going to soak them in water because essentially these are water stones. Okay, so I have just cleaned up the mess, and a lot of people don't talk about this, that after every 5, 6 or 10 knives you have to do this, right? So in order to have a flat sharpening stone, you need to make them flat regularly. And the next thing is you have to make them wet and soak them before sharpening. And yeah, it's always a little bit messy to sharpen with water stones. Okay, so now let's take out the first stone. And the good thing about the stones is that they come with this plastic stand, which really doesn't move much. But in addition to that, I would suggest that you get a sponge, which you make wet. And you lay this underneath the sharpening stone as well, because first of all, the sharpening stone doesn't move anymore then. And second of all, it will correct small mistakes when you're sharpening. Alrighty, so now I want to sharpen my APO-1 survival knife. And right now it's not that sharp really. Yeah, I've been to the wilderness, I've done a lot of cutting and patterning, so the knife has lost its sharpness. yeah, it's still cutting the paper. Wow, I'm impressed. So it's still cutting the paper nice. Okay. Alright, so I think I have to make it dull again. Let's see. Just cut into the screwdriver here. Okay. So now it's not cutting the paper anymore. As you can see. A couple of years ago I was sharpening the V-edge on my sharpening stone, and actually I'm not good at holding the angle at exactly the same angle, so I was never perfect at the V-edge sharpening method, and then I switched to the convex sharpening method, and I find it easier for me because I'm better at changing angles than holding angles. And now I want to show you what I mean. Basically what I'm doing for the convex edge is I'm placing the knife on my sharpening stone, and then I go backwards, and while I'm doing that I'm raising the angle, and then when I'm going forward again I'm going to make the angle smaller again. So what I'm doing basically, if I have to exaggerate this, is I do this and then this, okay? I do it only very slightly, like so, and I'm just better at, you know, sharpening like that with the changing angles. It's already getting really sharp. So now I'm going to switch to the finer side. Okay, this is looking really good now. So now let's switch to the even finer stone. And there's one thing that I want to mention. These kind of stones are not as forgiving as the other stones that I want to show you today. Because if you make a mistake here, it's going to be a huge mistake, and you might not get the knife to razor sharpness. So you have to be really careful not to change the angle too much. Okay, now comes the last side of the sharpening stone. And with the last sharpening stone I take most of the care, and I do the sharpening process very slowly, because now I don't want to make a mistake. Okay, let's try out the knife now. So, not too bad. It's cutting paper again. Let's give it a couple of more strokes, maybe that helps. It's not cutting any hair though. now I want to try this sharpening stone, which is by the company Spyderco. And it's a pretty good sharpening stone. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it's pretty flat and you have to make yourself some kind of stand. I think I'm just going to fold over my sponge. Yeah, this should work too. Now it's high enough and it's also moving a little bit. Before I sharpen the knife, I want to make it dull again. Now what is really funny about this stone is that this one stone seems to do the work of the two of the other sharpening stones. So it's taking off quite a lot of material, but the stone itself is not losing as much material as the other stones. And second of all, with the sharpening process, you're already polishing the blade as well. And this sharpening stone is much harder than the other stone, and the material is ceramic, so pretty awesome material. Now let's see how sharp the knife is. Oops. Huh? Okay, let's try again. Yeah. Oh my god, it's much sharper than with the other stone. Look at that. Wow, nice. Okay, let's take a look at the reflection of the edge again. So as you can see, the edge is convex, and also it looks as if the edge is polished. Oh yeah, it's shaving. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's shaving, yeah. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this here is my hair. Okay, now I want to move on to this sharpening stone, which is a diamond sharpener by D&T. And yeah, it's one of the more expensive stones because this one cost like over 90 euros, and I got the fine one. So here it says that you just should use some water, or you can also use it dry. Okay, that's a good thing because then it's not so messy. And this is the stone, which is actually a piece of metal which has diamond at the surface. But it's only at one side, at the other side it's just blank metal. And this is a really heavy stone. It's much heavier than this stone here by Spyderco, which is made from ceramic. This stone here is used for very hard steels, which have over 60 Rockwell. But of course you can sharpen knives which are softer as well. For example, my knife has 57 ±1 Rockwell. And now I want to sharpen this knife, which is a heavily used APO-1 Hunter, which is also very dirty. So I want to clean up the knife a little bit before I start sharpening. For cleaning my knives, I'm using ethanol. And with the ethanol you get off all of the dirt and also resin from the trees. Okay, now I want to dull the knife again. So, here we have the same problem with the stand. The stone is pretty flat, so I have to make myself some kind of stand here. So, let's see if this is high enough. So I want to do the same sharpening method again. Convex grind for the win. Whoops. Yeah, actually guys, this stone is much louder to sharpen, maybe because it's metal on metal. Okay, I think we are done. Let's use the strop here. Okay, now let's do the paper test again. Whoopsie. Nice. Let's do a couple of more strops because I think that will help. So I think that's as sharp as the other knife. I do 3 more strops at each side. Let's see if it shaves again. Yeah, it's shaving. Wow, nice. Okay, let's take a look at the blade. So here we have a very fine convex edge. And here I made a mistake. I came down too deep on the sharpening stone, so now I have this ugly scratch. So that's the downside of this freehand sharpening method. If you're unconcentrated, you will get a scratch up here, and that's not looking nice. Yeah, and that's how it is, guys. So you have to be very concentrated when you are working with this kind of sharpening method. Alright, so now what is the best sharpening stone in my opinion? Well, it really depends on your skill. So if you're a beginner and if you haven't sharpened a knife yet, I think that a device like this is the right one for you. And maybe even as a beginner, it's better to use sharpening stones like these and just make a V-edge. And after that you can move on to a foam sharpening stone like this one here and put on a convex edge. And if you want to go more in depth, I would definitely get a sharpening stone, but I would not get these stones because they are not forgiving. And also they are losing a lot of material. And it's always a mess with the water and everything. So yeah, I mean, they are good budget stones. And if you already have them, that's okay. But if you want to buy a new stone, I would either get this one or that one. Alright, so then which of these 2 stones would I choose to sharpen my knife? Honestly, I gotta say I like this one better because first of all, it's a little bit smaller and also more lightweight. So this is actually packable in a backpack if you go camping. And it's ceramic, so it's not losing as much material as these other stones. Actually, I didn't observe any divot in the stone, so it's still flat. So yeah, the material is just harder, and also you can use the stone for a very long time because I don't know how many knives you can sharpen, but I'm pretty sure you can sharpen a lot of knives. And even if you only have half the stone anymore, you can still use the sharpening stone. That's great. Now the diamond is great also because it's the fastest of all of these stones. And especially for very hard steels, you can use this sharpening stone, but it's very expensive. If you take a look, you can see that some of the diamonds are already coming off a little bit. So I'm not really sure how long the diamond surface is going to hold. And once this is gone, you cannot use the sharpening stone anymore because the rest is just metal. So honestly, for my knife, which is about 57 Rockwell plus minus 1, I would go for this sharpening stone. And both of these sharpening stones can create a sharp surface in a minute, okay? So it didn't take me long, maybe 2 minutes to sharpen the knives. Okay, and before I end the video, I want to say that it's really not easy to sharpen knives by hand. So it took me like half a year to get my knife to razor sharpness with the convex edge sharpening technique. So if you can do it the first few times, don't get disappointed because it really needs some practice. But after you have learned this technique, you're going to love it. I think that the convex edge is the best edge of all. It's really awesome and the most stable one. And that's what I want to have for a survival knife. Alright guys, so this is it. I really want to thank you for watching. As I said before, check out all of the links in the description below and stay tuned till next time.